Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you,
Glory to you,
Lord.
Lord. Thomas, called Didymus, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples said to him, "We have seen the Lord." But Thomas said to them, "Unless I see the mark on the nails in his hands, and put my finger into his nail marks, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Now a week later, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas was with them. Jesus came, although the doors were locked, and stood in their midst and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your fingers here and see my hand, and bring your hand and put it into my side, and do not be unbelieving, but believe." Thomas answered him and said, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Have you come to believe because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and have believed." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So we have a very special moment here. One of the 12 was not with the other 12. And I can't help but think that's, quite frankly, not an accident. Because in St. Thomas, we've got a wonderful example of how you and I are to live as Christians today. I don't know about you all, but I have a lot of moments of doubt, of unbelief, especially when you open the newspaper and all you see is death and destruction. But that's not reason to lose hope. Because although we see Thomas, sometimes unfortunately referred to as Doubting Thomas, as a weak figure, consider how we find him. Yes, he came to the 12 and they said, "Jesus has been here and you missed him." Well, for most of us that would be the time to bow out, to leave. But now a week later, the text says, the disciples were again inside and Thomas was with them. A week later, he spent a week in that unbelief, in that doubt. But he didn't go anywhere. I think that takes an incredible amount of strength to be able to remain when it seems impossible. And that's where Jesus meets Thomas, and that's where Jesus meets each one of us. We have, quite literally, the body and the blood of Christ in the Eucharist, and so we, like Thomas, put our fingers in his side and in those nail marks. We touch the body of Christ so that we may believe, so that we may have hope. And so on this feast day, I think it's appropriate that we call to mind all those moments in our lives when we need that hope, when we need that faith of Thomas. Not the doubting of Thomas, but that faith, that healing, and allow Jesus to work through us like he did through Thomas.